So, what is one of the big Thanksgiving traditions? After, I mean, if you have kids, you'll watch the Macy's parade. I actually almost had an opportunity to participate in the Macy's parade. I'm going off topic a little bit. I used to live in Tennessee, and I used to be a part of the Science Hill Marching Band, one of the best marching bands in the country. And I, 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 I never was a part of it when they went to the Macy's, but I almost was, and that would have been great. I almost was a part of the Rose Bowl parade too, the thing after New Year's in Pasadena. But anyway, um, but if you'll watch the Macy's parade, you'll eat the turkey and eat the mashed potatoes and eat the whatever. I mean, one thing people do, depending on your ethnicity, like, obviously my parents come from the Caribbean, so we will include, not just turkey and mashed potatoes, but we'll include oxtail, curry goat, rice and peas. My dad calls it rice and beans, but we'll do all that stuff. And then sometimes you'll sit down and watch a nice football game. I ain't doing that no more because of Nappyhead Vernon. Oliver Vernon from the New York Giants, a team I like. I mean, I also used to live in New York, and I support the New York Giants over the Patriots. The Patriots, I hate them to hell, but Oliver Vernon kneels during the national anthem being performed by a military sergeant. And I just got this information because I'm not a big football watcher. I have my teams, but I got this from a good friend of mine from Alberta, a nice guy who might be doing what I'm doing too, YouTube videos, and he's probably watching right now. And I'm just thinking to myself, I never said this, but I'm about to tell this to y'all now. President Trump, this is the solution as far as I'm concerned. President Trump should round up all these black football players who keep kneeling. Round them up from New York City and Chicago and Los Angeles and Charlotte, North Carolina and Memphis, Tennessee and Dallas, Fort Worth. Round them all up, get a big old ship, big old military ship, and ship all these nappy-headed assholes back to Africa. That's what they should do. You're sitting around here, kneeling around. I mean, some of these guys would go abroad. And I think white people are starting to, well, there are a few white football players who are starting to kneel as well. Send them back to Europe. Send them, I'm a double-edged insulter. I say nappy head for blacks. I say processed head for whites. Send them processed head wiggers to Europe, to Yugoslavia, to Russia, to wherever they want to go. But I think these football players, if they hate America so much, if they if America is so wrong, if America is so bad, if there's so much wrong with America, they were never kneeling with Obama. This is all a Trump thing. This is all a big old Trump thing. They are disgusted that Trump won the election. They are sad that Trump won the election. This isn't about America. So they are so butthurt. So if they are so disrespectful that the choices America makes for president, send them back to Africa. Send them to Africa. They think Trump is bad, send them over to Zimbabwe with Mugabe or Mnangagwa. See what real evil is like. Send them to South Africa with Jacob the corrupt Zupta, that they call him, or Zuma is his real name, but they call him Zupta. Send them over to Uganda with Idi Amin. Send them over to the Congo with Joseph Kabila. Send them over to Senegal. Send them over to the Central. Send these people back to Africa. If America is so bad, get the hell out. Send them to Africa. Choose whichever African country you want to go to. I personally would choose Kenya, because Kenya, out of all of the African countries, Kenya is probably the most. But then they'll probably find something, Send them over to Kenya. Send them to the Congo. Send them to Somalia. Send them to Senegal, where most of our ancestors come from. Send them to Ghana. Send them out. Get them out. You're running around here talking about how bad America is. But then what I noticed, and this was a while ago, that there were a few NFL players that would kneel in a foreign country, in England, I believe. They would kneel for the American anthem, but stand for God Save the Queen. So they would show loyalty to God Save the Queen of England. And they think America is bad? You want to see the history of the British Empire? And the royal family? The slave trade? You want to talk about the slave? They invented it. Well, the Portuguese invented it, and then they hyped it up. The slave trade. You want to talk about South Africa with the Zulus, what the British did to the Zulus? You want to talk about Jamaica, what they did to the blacks in Jamaica? You want to talk about Kenya? You want to talk about India? You want to talk about all over the place. The British Empire has blood soaking from its hands. And you brothers want to stand for God Save the Queen, and you want to say that you're protesting America and its injustice? Let me tell you something. I've been to England before. It's a nice country. I like it. But I would never live there. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. The English and the British are probably more racist than the worst toothless hillbilly redneck in Mississippi. They call you Nignog. They call you all sorts of... And one thing you notice about living in England is that no matter how many Arabs or black people or Chinese people populate London, which is happening at a big rate, you don't feel truly British. You don't. You don't. You know you're not British. In fact, there was a law, I think it's still in effect, that foreigners cannot acquire British citizenship. They can't. I don't know if that's still there, but I know it was there. My parents used to live in England. I don't know that. They were, even though my father was born in Belize, which was the British Honduras, which was a colony of England, he is not a British citizen to this day. That's how Britain is. That's Britain for you. And these brothers want to stand for God Save the Queen. And they want to kneel for America because of injustice. Yes, I know there's injustice, and I'm against it. I hate police brutality. But you got to understand something about police brutality. Yes, it's there, and I'm against it. But police brutalize white people far more injustice with white people than they are with black people. People don't want to talk about that. It's statistics. Yeah, you don't want to talk about... You're going to call me Uncle Tom and all this stuff. Go ahead. I don't see if I care, but I'm talking the truth. It's Random Nation telling the truth. White kids are brutalized in America by police more than black folk. You know who is brutalizing black folk? You want to know who's brutalizing black folk more than police? Other black folk in Chicago and in South Central Los Angeles and in New York City and in Detroit and in Miami and in all over the place. Black folk, y'all black folk who are about to call me Uncle Tom right now, y'all are the Uncle Toms because y'all destroying the black nation in America. Y'all are destroying. You go to Chicago, black folk are killing other black folk like rats, like ants. They just stomp on them. They have no regard for black life. They have no regard for black lives, these black people. But then when the police come, they, oh, I'm sorry. Do you think they go try and shoot the police officer? No, I'm sorry, police. I won't do it again. The police, arrest them. But when it comes to black on black, they have no regard. And that's American blacks I'm talking about. American blacks who are the most racist against other blacks. I'm not talking about Caribbean blacks or blacks in Canada like me who have some sort of honor. Blacks in Canada actually, in fact, I was born in Canada. Lived in Canada for a while, and I'm still, there. I lived in America. I feel better as a black person living in Canada than living in America. Black people in Canada have more honor. I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's the truth. Black people in Canada and in Britain have more honor, have more class, have more dignity. They don't go killing each other, they'll think twice before just killing their own kind like that. So don't come telling me about you protesting police brutality. Yes, America's not perfect. No country's perfect. But if you're going to sit for the American anthem and stand for God Save the Queen, something is wrong with you. Send y'all back to Africa if you think America's so bad. And then you'll see what real evil is like. You go to South Africa, you're not South African, the black folk will put a tire around your neck and burn it. That's how little they think about you. And you'll see what racism really is. You'll see what injustice really is. You go to Zimbabwe and you see how the government treats black folk in Zimbabwe. 90% unemployment. The money is worthless. You know, you go to Congo and you see how black soldiers will rape. And I'm not saying send them to Jamaica. No. Send them to Africa. Send them to see what real injustice really is like. You see the government soldiers raping women and child. You want to go to Sierra Leone and see child soldiers. Then you'll see what injustice is really like. Then you'll see. Starting with this Oliver guy who knelt on Thanksgiving before a sergeant. Take him first, Africa. Trump, take these black NFL players back to Africa.